Welcome, my friends, to the podcast where we listen, we relax, and we get sleepy. Before we begin, let's take a moment to settle in. Find a comfortable position. Gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, and a long, slow breath out. Tonight, we're leaving behind the world of notifications on deadlines. The only schedule we'll be following is the gentle rhythm of the wind, and frankly, you probably wouldn't survive a day of such intense relaxation. But that's why we're doing this from the comfort of our beds. Our journey tonight takes us not just to a place, but to a time painted in brilliant, sun-drenched colors. We are traveling to the south of France, to the year 1888, carried on the sound of the wind blowing through fields of lavender. So, before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you feel so inclined, you can leave a comment with your city and what time it is for you right now. It's always nice to know where we're all listening from. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The sound from the fan, that gentle, steady hum, begins to change. It's no longer the sound of moving air in your room. It's something else. It's the sound of a breeze, a real one traveling over vast, open land. It's a soft, whispering sound, a murmur that seems to carry a story within it. You are still perfectly safe, perfectly comfortable in your bed, but your awareness begins to drift, pulled along by this changing current of sound. And with the sound, it is faint at first, barely there. A delicate, clean fragrance that you almost mistake for a memory. You might think it's the soap on your linens or a candle you burned earlier. But this scent is different. It is wilder, warmer, and profoundly gentle. It's the unmistakable fragrance of lavender, but not from a bottle. This is the scent of living lavender, warmed by the sun, its essential oils released into the air by a passing breeze. Sun-baked earth and a whisper of wild thyme. You breathe in again, deeper this time, and the scent becomes a little clearer, a little more present. It feels like an invitation. This is the call. The first whisper from 1888th. It's not a loud summons, not a startling interruption, but a soft, persistent pull on your senses. The air in your room, which a moment ago was still unfamiliar, now seems to hold this ancient, floral perfume. The gentle weight of your blanket feels a little like the warmth of a sun you haven't yet seen. You are not being asked to move or to try. You are simply being drawn effortlessly. You focus on the scent, letting it fill your awareness. Historians say the Romans used lavender in their baths for its calming properties, carrying the practice across Europe. They knew even then that this scent was more than just pleasant, it was a pathway to peace. And as you lie here, you can feel that ancient truth. The fragrance seems to smooth out the edges of your day, softening your thoughts until they are hazy and indistinct. The sound of the wind grows a little more defined. You can hear it rustling through what sounds like millions of tiny, dry stalks. A soft, percussive choosing sound, a natural symphony of movement. It's the sound that gives the scent its wings. The two are inseparable, the whisper of the wind and the fragrance of the lavender it carries. Travelers and poets have long debated whether a place can truly call to you, whether a landscape can have a voice. You might wonder if this is what they meant. Not a voice of words, but a voice of pure sensation, a call made of fragrance, warmth, and the gentle caress of the air. The world outside your window fades away. The distant traffic, the quiet hum of your home, they all recede, replaced by this singular, peaceful experience. There is only the soft, endless whisper of the wind, and the sweet, calming perfume of lavender. You feel yourself yielding to it, letting it guide you. There is no destination you need to strive for. It is whisper, this scent, is the only guide you need. It is gently pulling you away from the now and into the then, into the heart of a sun-drenched summer in Provence, long, long ago. You are on the very edge of it now, carried forward on the softest of breezes, a traveler in time, guided only by the sound of the wind blowing lavender. The gentle current of air continues to pull you, and the sensation begins to shift. It's no longer just a scent you are inhaling, or a sound you are hearing. It's becoming a feeling, a physical presence. The change is subtle, starting from the soles of your feet. The soft, even support of your mattress seems to be receding, replaced by something warmer, firmer, and textured. You feel a gentle, grounding pressure, a connection to something solid and real, the feeling of being held not by a bed, but by the earth itself. Slowly, you become aware that you are standing. Your body feels light at ease. You are on a small, dusty path. The ground beneath your simple, soft-soled shoes is warm, radiating a gentle heat that has been stored from hours of sunlight. It is the deep, comforting warmth that only the earth, after a long, sun-drenched day, can provide. You curl your toes, and you can feel the fine, dry grit of the soil, the occasional smooth, small pebble. It isn't harsh or uncomfortable. It's a confirmation. You are here. The lavender scent is still with you, woven into the very fabric of the air, but now it shares space with a new fragrance, the smell of dust. It's a clean, mineral scent, the perfume of sun-baked clay and limestone. It's the smell of summer, of dryness, hovel, and that is thirsty but content. You take a tentative step forward. The sound is a soft, satisfying crunch, a whisper of grit against the soft leather of your shoes. Another step, the dust puffs up in a tiny, ochre-colored cloud around your ankle, catching the light before settling again. You look down the path as it winds gently ahead of you. It's not a grand road, but a simple, well-trodden track, carved through the landscape by the passage of countless feet, hooves, and cartwheels over many years. The color of the earth and pale cicadas. On either side of the path, wild herbs grow in resilient little clumps: thyme, rosemary, and other hardy plants whose names you don't know. Their silvery green leaves shimmering in the late afternoon light. Your first guide still murmurs, but now you can see what it's rustling: the dry grasses, the lavender stalks in the distance, and the leaves of a gnarled olive tree just ahead. This very soil is the soul of Provence. Geologists and vintners call it terroir, the unique combination of soil, climate, and topography that gives a region its character. This dusty, seemingly simple ground beneath your feet is what nourishes the lavender, feeds the ancient olive groves, and ripens the grapes that will become wine. It's a living foundation, a library of minerals and memories. You can feel its history, its generosity, just by standing here. You feel the sun on your skin now. It's not the harsh, direct heat of midday, but a gentler, golden light. It warms your shoulders and the back of your neck. It casts long, soft shadows that stretch out before you on the path. You raise a hand to shield your eyes, and through your fingers, you see the world bathed in this incredible honeyed glow. Everything, the dust, the very air itself seems to be saturated with this warm, golden light, making the entire landscape feel like a memory you are stepping into. A thought drifts into your mind, as gentle as the breeze. Scholars have often debated how a place retains its essence. Is it in the grand architecture, the museums, The written histories, or is it something more elemental perhaps, you ponder. The true memory of a place is held in the dust, in the very soil. Each particle a record of a season, a storm, a quiet sunset. Each footstep, like your own, adding another layer to its silent story. Standing here, on this humble path from 1880 to 80, it feels undeniably true. You are walking on history, breathing it in, feeling its warmth seep into you. Your senses are fully awake now, yet your mind is completely at peace. The anxieties of your world, the lists and schedules, have no place here. They cannot survive in this warm, fragrant air. There is only the simple, profound reality of this moment, the feeling of the warm earth, the scent of lavender and dust, the sound of your own quiet footsteps, and the golden light that bathes everything in a blanket of serene beauty. The path stretches on, an invitation to continue. The journey is not about reaching a destination, but about the act of walking, of being present in this rediscovered world. You take another breath, another step, and continue your slow, peaceful walk along the dusty road, deeper into the heart of a long-ago summer. As you walk, a sense of purpose begins to bloom in your mind, as gently, unnaturally as the wild herbs along the path. It isn't a task assigned by anyone, not a burden or a duty. It is a quiet, weightless understanding that settles over you. A role you are meant to play in this time, in this place. The thought arrives fully formed, as if carried to you on the same breeze that brought the lavender. You are a messenger. You are here to deliver a message for a painter. A man you have not met, but whose presence you can already feel lingering in the intensity of the light and the vibrancy of the colors around you. You know, with a certainty that requires no explanation, that this painter is a lonely soul. His eyes see the world with a burning, almost painful clarity, but he struggles to share the overwhelming beauty he perceives. He pours it onto his canvases, but the world does not yet understand his language of color and light. And so you are his messenger, but the message you carry is not written on paper. It is not a collection of words folded into an envelope. You check your pockets instinctively, and they are empty. You look at your hands, and they hold nothing. The message is not a physical object. It is something you are collecting, something you are becoming. It is the feeling of the warm, sun-baked dust beneath your feet. It is the complex, layered fragrance of wild lavender, thyme, and rosemary mingling in the air. It is the sound of the wind, the mistral as it whispers and sighs through the olive groves and rustles the dry heads of the sunflowers. It is the way the golden light of late afternoon saturates the landscape, turning a simple field into a sea of molten gold. You are a vessel, gathering these pure sensory impressions. You pause for a moment on the path. A small, iridescent beetle makes its slow, deliberate way across a sun-bleached stone. You watch it, completely captivated. The tiny details of its journey, the shimmer of its shell, the patient movement of its legs, this too is part of the message. The profound beauty in the smallest, most overlooked corners of the world. This is what the painter sees. This is what he yearns to share. The message you carry is one of comfort. It is a silent reassurance for the painter, a confirmation that the beauty he witnesses is real, that it is felt and received by another soul. And it is also a message for the future, for those who will one day look upon his work and wonder what it felt like to be there. You are living that answer. You are breathing the air he breathed, walking the same earth. You might wonder, in a fleeting, philosophical moment, what constitutes a message? Is a message only a sequence of words, a set of instructions, a piece of news, or can a message be a feeling? Can one person transmit piece to another simply by experiencing it deeply. The quiet conviction that settles in your heart suggests the latter. You are not delivering a lettering, you are delivering a moment of shared perception across time. This role feels right. It feels effortless. It gives your gentle, aimless wandering a quiet significance. You are not a tourist, not an intruder. You are a welcome presence, a necessary link. You are the quiet observer, the sensory archivist. Your only task is to feel, to notice, to absorb the world around you with a soft, open awareness. The painter's studio, you sense, is the famous yellow house in Arles. You can almost picture him there now, surrounded by his canvases, the smell of turpentine and oil paint thick in the air. He might be looking out of his window, his gaze fixed on the shimmering heat rising from the fields, feeling a profound sense of isolation in the midst of all this overwhelming beauty. He doesn't know you are here, of course, but perhaps, in some inexplicable way, the gentle focus of your attention, your deep appreciation for his world reaches him. A faint, fleeting sense of peace, a momentary easing of his loneliness, like a cool hand on a fevered brow. You don't need to find him. You don't need to speak. Your presence here, your slow and mindful journey, is the entire act of communication. You are a walking, breathing poem dedicated to this land and its lonely, brilliant interpreter. With this gentle purpose settling comfortably within you, you continue your walk. The weight of your role is no heavier than a sunbeam on your shoulder. You are Van Gogh's messenger, and your message is made of light and dust, and the sound of the wind blowing through the lavender. You continue your walk as the sun begins its slow descent, and the quality of the light changes once more. It is no longer the bright, diffuse light of the afternoon. It has deepened and taken on an astonishingly rich, golden hue. This is the light that drew the painter here, the legendary light of Provence. But experiencing it is different from merely hearing about it. It's like stepping into a river of warm, liquid honey. The air itself seems to be colored. It's not just that the light is yellow, the light is gold. It's a tangible presence, a soft, heavy, luminous medium through which you move. It saturates everything it touches. The pale dust of the path now glows with a deep ochre warmth. The silvery green leaves of the olive trees are edged in shimmering gold. The distant fields of lavender, which were a vibrant purple just an hour ago, are now softened, their color deepened and enriched by this golden rich. You lift your hand, turning it over in this extraordinary light. Your own skin seems to glow from within, every line and contour softened and made beautiful. You are not just seeing this light, you are wearing it. It drapes over your shoulders like a soft, weightless cloak. It feels benevolent. This is not a harsh, analytical light that reveals flaws. It is a forgiving, painterly light that unifies the world, binding everything together in a harmonious glow. Artists and scientists have tried to explain this phenomenon. They speak of the clarity of the air in the south of France, the lack of industrial haze, the way the low-angled sun's rays travel through more of the atmosphere, scattering the blue and violet light and leaving behind the warm reds, oranges, and yellows. But as you stand here, bathed in this incredible luminescence, a scientific explanation feels entirely inadequate. It cannot capture the feeling. It's a spiritual experience as much as a physical one. You find a smooth, warm stone by the side of the path and decide to sit for a moment, simply to absorb it all. From this vantage point, you can see how the light interacts with the landscape. It pools in the hollows and crests on the ridges. It catches the top of a distant cypress tree, turning it into a dark flame tipped with gold. It transforms a simple stone wall into a mosaic of warm, glowing tones from pale straw to deep amber. The world is a camber, most brilliant layer of glaze. This must be what the painter felt. An almost overwhelming flood of beauty, a desperate urge to capture this fleeting, magical moment and hold it forever. You can imagine him standing in a field just wide, his eyes wide, his heart pounding, frantically trying to mix the colors on his palette to match the impossible gold of the sky, the incandescent yellow of the sunflowers, the deep, glowing ochre of the earth. He wasn't just painting a landscape, he was painting the light itself. You close your eyes for a moment, just to feel it. You can feel the warmth on your eyelids, a gentle, penetrating heat. Even with your eyes closed, the world is not dark, but a soft, reddish orange. It is the color of peace, of safety, of a world held in a warm and gentle embrace. You can hear the low hum of a few late bees, their wings catching the golden light as they make their final trips back to the hive. The world is settling down for the evening, wrapped in this magnificent. You wonder about the nature of perception. Does this light truly exist, or is it a combination of atmosphere and the longing of the human heart for beauty? Does the landscape create the artist, or does the artist, by seeing it in a particular way, create the landscape here in this perfect moment? The question feels moot. The experience is what is real. This overwhelming sense of peace and wonder is the truth. You open your eyes again. The shadows are longer now, stretching like deep blue rivers across the golden land. The sun is a perfect molten orb, hovering just above the horizon. The moment is perfect, and it is passing. But you feel no sadness at its transience. You are grateful to have been a part of it. You have bathed in the golden light of Provence, and it has become a part of the message you carry. It is a memory burned not into your mind, but into your mind, a feeling of warmth and wonder that you will carry with you long after the sun has finally slipped below the horizon. The golden hour in Arles is not just a time of day, it is a state of grace. As the golden light begins to fade, a new presence makes itself known. It's the wind. You've been aware of it all along, the gentle rustling, the carrier of scents, but now its character changes. It picks up strength, its voice deepens. This is the famous Mistral wind of Provence, a force that defines the region as much as the sun and the soil. But tonight, it is not the fierce, relentless gale that can drive people to distraction. It is a gentler, more benevolent version of itself. It is your guide. You stand up from your warm stone seat and feel it press against you, not with force, but with a firm, steady insistence. It nudges you, encourages you, shows you the way. It flows down the path as if the track were a dry riverbed, and you feel compelled to follow its current. You begin to walk again, and you attune your senses to the language of the wind. It is not a single, monolithic sound, but a complex symphony of noises. You can hear it rushing through the upper branches of the plane trees, a high sighing sound like a distant sea. Then, you hear it closer, weaving through the spiky leaves of the lavender fields, creating a soft, percussive shade like thousands of tiny rattles being shaken in unison, making them whisper and click against each other. The wind carries information. It brings you the faint, bleating sound of sheep being herded into a pen for the night, a sound from a farmstead you cannot see. It carries the distant, metallic clang of a church bell, marking the hour, its tone softened and elongated by its journey through the air. And of course, it continues to carry the sense of the landscape. The lavender is still there, but now it's mingled with the cooler, sharper scent of pine from a distant hill. and the homely, comforting smell of wood smoke from a chimney somewhere in the valley. You learn to read its movements. You see how it makes the tall cypress trees sway in a slow, hypnotic dance, their dark forms bending under covering with a grace that belies their size. You watch it create waves across a field of wheat, the entire surface shimmering and flowing like a golden ocean. The wind makes the invisible visible. It is the breath of the landscape, and by paying attention to it, you can feel the land's pulse. Local folklore is full of stories about the Mistral. It is said to clear the sky, blowing away every last cloud to reveal the brilliant blue of the Provence sky and the sharp, clear light that painters love. They say it can also drive a person mad with its incessant, howling song. But the farmers and the ancient olive trees know its secrets. They know that it is also a cleansing force, a drying wind that prevents rotten disease, a vital part of the rhythm of life here. The trees have learned to grow with it, their trunks twisting and gnarling over centuries to withstand its force, becoming living sculptures shaped by the air itself. You turn your face into the wind, letting it flow past you. It feels cool on your skin now, a welcome contrast to the stored warmth of the day. It clears your head, sweeping away the last vestiges of any lingering, complex thoughts. It demands your full attention, but in a way that is grounding, not draining. It connects you to the raw, elemental power of this place. There is a philosophical question that floats on this current of air. Is the wind a destructive force or a creative one? It can topple trees and dun roof houses, but it also carries the seeds that will become new forests, and it sculpts the landscape into forms of unique beauty. As you walk, feeling its steady, guiding presence, you feel it is undeniably a creative force. It is the unseen sculptor, the messenger, the musician that plays the landscape. You feel no resistance to it. You allow it to guide your steps, to fill your ears with its ancient music, to envelop you in its cool embrace. It feels like you are being led by the hand by the spirit of Provence itself. The path ahead is clear, illuminated by the soft, silvery light of the rising moon. The wind is your companion, a constant, reassuring presence at your side. You are no longer just an observer, you are part of the flow, a tiny element in the cool night, and you trust it completely, knowing it is leading you exactly where you need to be. The wind, your faithful guide, leads you away from the dusty main path and onto a smaller, narrower track. The air grows thick with a fragrance so intense, so deeply floral and calming, that it feels like you could float on it. You have arrived. Before you, stretching out in the pale moonlight, is a vast, undulating sea of lavender. You are standing at the edge of a field that seems to have no end. The plants are arranged in perfect, straight rows that march over the gentle hills and disappear into the soft darkness. The moon, now higher in the sky, casts a silvery, ethereal glow upon the scene. The vibrant purple of daytime has been transformed into 100 shades of silver, indigo, and deep, velvety violet. It is a dreamscape, a silent, fragrant ocean under the stars. You take a step into the field, moving between two rows. The plants are so dense that they brush against your legs as you pass. The contact releases another, fresher wave of perfume. It's a clean, herbaceous scent, with notes of camphor, pine, and a delicate, honeyed sweetness. You run your hand gently over the tops of the flowering stalks. They feel bristly, yet soft, a collection of tiny, intricate blossoms, each one a perfect, miniature vessel of fragrance. The sensation is wonderfully tactile, a direct connection to the heart of this purple sea. All around you is the sound you first heard in the distance, but now you are at its center. It is the gentle, hypnotic rustling of millions of lavender stalks swaying in the breeze. It's a soft, continuous soothing sound, a lullaby sung by the field itself. Woven into this sound is another, more subtle music, the low, contented hum of bees and other night insects. They are still at work, even in the cool of the evening, drawn to the irresistible sweetness of the nectar. Persistent buzzing is the heartbeat of the field, a sign of the life that thrives within this fragrant expanse. This is the very essence of Provence. For centuries, lavender has been the soul of this region. It's not just a crop, it's a culture. Its cultivation, harvest, and distillation are ancient traditions passed down through generations. People have used it for everything, for perfume, for medicine, for cooking, for keeping linens fresh. It is known as blue gold, a humble plant that has sustained families unshaped the landscape. Resting here, you can feel that deep, historical connection. You are standing in a place of profound peace and productivity. You find a small, clear patch of earth between two rows and you sit down, immersing yourself completely. Now the lavender is at eye level. You are no longer looking down upon it, but are a part of it. From this perspective, the field is a forest. The individual plants are like small, intricate trees, their woody stems gnarled and ancient looking, their silvery green leaves catching the moonlight. You feel hidden, safe, and enveloped in a cocoon of scent and sound. A quiet thought drifts through your mind. Does a place of such intense peace absorb the tranquility of those who tend it? You imagine generations of farmers working these fields, their movements slow and deliberate, their minds focused on the patient rhythm of the seasons. Perhaps the calmness of the lavender is not just a chemical property, but a reflection of the peaceful human energy that has been invested in it for centuries. It's a comforting thought that the land remembers and reflects the care it is given. You lie back, resting your head on a soft clump of wild grass. Now, your view is of the lavender stalks silhouetted against the vast, star-dusted sky. The sight is mesmerizing. The dark, slender shapes of the flowers point upwards, like a million tiny fingers reaching for the heavens. The stars above seem to be twinkling with a special brilliance, as if the fragrant air has polished them clean. You feel suspended between two oceans, the fragrant, purple ocean of the earth and the silent, glittering ocean of the cosmos. There is nothing to do here but be. No decisions to make, no problems to solve. Your only task is to breathe. With every inhalation, you draw in the calming, restorative perfume of the lavender. You can feel it traveling through you, a gentle wave of relaxation that soothes your muscles and quiets your mind. With every exhalation, you release any remaining tension, letting it dissolve into the vast, peaceful night. The world has been reduced to this single, perfect experience: the scent of lavender, the murmur of the wind, and the silent, watchful presence of the stars. You are adrift in a sea of tranquility, safe and utterly at peace. You eventually rise from your sanctuary within the lavender, feeling saturated with its peace. The gentle wind continues to nudge you, guiding you back to the main path, and you follow its lead. As you walk, the dense floral perfume of the lavender begins to thin, replaced by a different but equally compelling presence. The path curves, and before you stands another field, this one populated by silent, stoic giants, a field of sunflower. Even in the pale light of the moon and stars, their presence is immense. During the day, they would have been a riot of brilliant, defiant yellow. But now, in the quiet of the night, they are a congregation of dark, heavy heads, their once golden petals, now closed and silvered by the moonlight, like the cowls of sleeping monks. They are all facing the same direction east, patiently waiting for the dawn. You step off the path and walk among them. They tower over you, their thick, hairy stalks strong and unyielding. You reach out and touch one. The stalk is rough and fibrous, like a coarse rope. You run your hand up to the great heavy head. It is surprisingly weighty, laden with the promise of thousands of seeds. The surface is a complex, beautiful spiral, a perfect example of nature's sacred geometry. Even in the dark, you can feel its intricate, mathematical perfection. Unlike the lavender field, which was filled with sound and movement, this place is defined by its profound stillness. The sunflowers are silent sentinels, their watchfulness creating an atmosphere of deep, contemplative quiet. The wind still moves, but it seems to part around them, unable to make them sway. They are too grounded, too heavy, too resolute in their patient vigil. The painter you know was obsessed with these flowers. He saw in them something more than just a plant. He saw the sun itself, captured and held in earthy form. He saw joy, gratitude, and a fierce, burning life force. He painted them in every stage of their life, from the brilliant, full bloom of their youth to the withered, seed-shedding decay of their old age. For him, they were a symbol of the entire cycle of life and death, of beauty and resilience. Standing here in the quiet of the night, you begin to understand his fascination on a deeper level. During the day, their beauty is obvious, almost shouting its existence with its brilliant color. But at night, their character is revealed. You can feel their strength, their patience, their unwavering faith in the return of the light. There is a deep, quiet wisdom in their stillness. The scientific term for their sun-following behavior is heliotropism. Young sunflowers exhibit this, turning their heads throughout the day to track the sun's journey across the sky. But as they mature, they cease this movement unsettled, almost always facing east to greet the morning sun. There is something profoundly poetic in this, a youthful, energetic seeking that eventually matures into a calm, steadfast waiting. It's a life lesson offered silently by a field of flowers. You find yourself wondering about the nature of devotion. What is it like to live your entire life in service to a single, celestial body, to structure your entire existence around the rising and setting of the sun? There is a purity in that kind of focus, a simplicity that feels deeply peaceful. In a world of endless distractions on competing priorities, the single-minded devotion of the sunflower feels like a forgotten ideal. You lean your head against the sturdy stalk of one of the larger flowers. It feels like leaning against an old, wise friend. You close your eyes and just stand there, sharing in its stillness. The air here has a different scent, not floral, but earthy and green. It's the smell of chlorophyll, of thick sap, of the raw, growing energy of the plant. It's a grounding, nourishing scent that seems to connect you directly to the rich soil beneath your feet. The world of people, of villages, houses, and lamps feels very far away. Here, you are in the company of non-human beings who live by a different clock, a different set of laws. Their silence is not empty, it is full of a deep, resonant purpose. You are a guest in their kingdom, a quiet observer of their nightly ritual. The message you are carrying for the painter deepens. It is not just about the beauty of light and color, it is also about the dignity of stillness, the power of patience, and the quiet strength that can be found in a silent, watchful presence. You have gathered the peace of the lavender, and now you are gathering the strength of the sunflowers. You take one last look at the field of dark, solemn heads, all waiting for a dawn you will not see. Their collective stillness is a powerful force, a silent blessing that settles in your heart as you turn to continue your journey through the Provençal night. You leave the silent company of the sunflowers and find your way back to a more established path, this one wider and smoother, suggesting you are approaching a place of human habitation. The wind, which has been your constant companion, now carries a new scent, the faint, warm smell of baking bread, though the hour is late. It's a comforting, domestic aroma that speaks of hearth and home. Ahead of you, nestled at a quiet crossroads, is a building that glows with a gentle, welcoming light. It's a simple two-story house, its plaster walls painted a vibrant, cheerful yellow. Even in the moonlight, the color is unmistakable. It absorbs the silvery lunar glow and reflects it back with a soft, buttery warmth. The green shutters are closed on most of the windows, like sleeping eyelids. This is it. You don't approach the front door. Your purpose is not to intrude. You are a silent messenger and observer. You find a spot across the small, dusty square, perhaps sitting on the low stone rim of a dry fountain. And you simply look. The house is not grand or imposing. It is modest, solid, and unassuming. But the painter chose it and colored it to be a beacon, a studio of the South, a haven for artists, a haven for artists, a haven even now. It radiates that hopeful energy. The yellow of the walls feels like a deliberate act of optimism. In a world that can often be gray and indifferent, to paint one's house the color of sunshine is a statement. It's a declaration of faith and warmth, in light, in camaraderie. You can feel the painter's dream embedded in the very plaster of the walls, a dream of a community of artists, living and working together, sharing ideas, and creating a new kind of art under the brilliant Provence sun. A single light is still on in a ground floor window. The shutters are slightly ajar, and a warm, yellow-orange light spills out, painting a soft rectangle on the dusty ground. It's a welcoming, intimate light, the kind that suggests a person awake inside, perhaps reading or writing, or simply lost in thought. You imagine the painter in that room, the famous one he depicted with its simple wooden bed and chairs. You can almost feel the quiet intensity of his presence, the restless energy of his mind contained within those four yellow walls. Cultural historians note that for the painter, the color yellow was more than just a pigment. It was his personal color of happiness, and he used it lavishly, almost desperately, as if trying to physically manifest the warmth and connection he so deeply craved. This house was to be the ultimate expression of that hope. Looking at it now, glowing under the moon, you can understand. You ponder the idea of a place holding an intention. Can a building be imbued with the dreams of its occupant? We speak of houses having a happy or sad feeling. Perhaps this isn't just a metaphor. Perhaps the intense emotional energy of a person can leave a residue, a psychic imprint on their surroundings. The yellow house feels saturated with the painter's fierce, fragile hope. It feels like a vessel, filled to the brim with his yearning for a brighter world. The night is quiet here in this part of town. The raucous sounds of the downtown cafes haven't reached this little square. The only sounds are the gentle sigh of the wind as it skims over the tiled roof, the distant chirp of a cricket, and the almost imperceptible hum that seems to emanate from the house itself, the hum of a single burning lamp and a single burning creative soul. You feel a profound sense of tenderness for this house and for the man inside. Your role as a messenger feels especially poignant now. The message of peace you've gathered from the lavender fields, the message of strength from the sunflowers, it feels as if you are mentally offering it to this glowing yellow sanctuary. A silent gift of comfort, a whispered assurance that the beauty he sees is real and true. You don't need to hear his voice. Being here, bearing witness to his glowing yellow dream is enough. The house itself is a character in his story, a silent partner in his artistic quest. It offered him a brief period of stability, a canvas on which to project his most cherished aspirations. And as you sit here in the quiet square, you are paying homage to that dream. The image of the warm, glowing house, a solitary beacon of hope in the deep blue of the Provençal night, becomes another vital part of the message you carry. It's the color of warmth in a world that can be cold, a testament to the enduring power of a hopeful heart. Your gaze drifts from the warm glow of the yellow house to a quieter, darker corner of the small square. There, sheltered by the shadow of a neighboring wall, is a small, untamed patch of garden. It's not a manicured, formal space, but a place where life has been allowed to grow with a certain wild freedom. And in the center of this patch, catching the moonlight in a way that seems to make them glow from within, is a magnificent clump of iris flowers. You rise from your seat and walk quietly toward them, drawn by their deep, hypnotic color. Even in the monochrome of the night, their vibrancy is palpable. They are a shade of blue so deep, so rich, that it feels less like a color and more like a depth, a pool of pure indigo that you could fall into. The moonlight catches the velvety texture of their petals, making them shimmer as if dusted with silver. You kneel down to get a closer look, careful not to disturb them. The structure of the iris is a marvel of natural architecture. The three large drooping petals called falls are like elegant velvet curtains, their surfaces intricately patterned with delicate darker veins. The three smaller, upright petals, the standards, reach for the sky, their form proud and delicate at the same time. You can see tiny, shimmering droplets of dew collected in the heart of the flowers, each one a perfect miniature lens reflecting the starry sky above. The air around them is cool and carries a faint, subtle perfume. It's not the overwhelming sweetness of the lavender, but a more reserved, earthy fragrance with a hint of green spice, like damp soil and fresh-cut stems. It is the scent of deep, quiet places, of shaded corners and morning dew. You breathe it in, and it feels like a balm, a scent that encourages introspection and calm. The painter loved irises. He painted them not long after his arrival at the asylum in St. Remy, finding solace in the quiet contemplation of their forms. For him, they were not just flowers. He saw in their twisting, vibrant shapes a reflection of his own turbulent emotions, but also a profound and resilient life force. He painted them with an energy and reverence that transformed them from simple botanical specimens into powerful symbols of nature's enduring beauty. Botanists and garden historians have noted that the iris has been a symbol of royalty and divinity for centuries. The fleur-de-lis, a stylized iris, was the emblem of French kings. In ancient Greece, the god Osiris was the personification of the rainbow and the messenger of the gods. Her name given to this flower because of its vast range of colors. Kneeling here, in the quiet moonlight, you can feel that sense of nobility, that touch of the sacred. These flowers possess a quiet dignity, a regal bearing that commands respect. You ponder the contrast between these irises and the sunflowers you saw earlier. The sunflowers were all about the sun, open, brilliant, outward-facing, a symbol of communal joy. The irises are their opposite. They are about the shade, the coolness, the interior world. Their beauty is more complex, more introspective. They draw you in rather than projecting themselves out. They are flowers for the poet, for the dreamer, for the quiet observer. You reach out a finger, not to touch the petal itself, but just to feel the cool, moist air that hovers above its surface. There is a palpable energy here, a quiet, living presence. You are in the company of beings that are perfectly content in their shaded corner, who do not need the bright glare of the sun to express their magnificent beauty. They are a reminder that not all strength is loud and brilliant. There is a strength in quietness, a beauty in shadows, a power in depth. This too becomes a part of the message you carry. The painter needed to see this, to feel this. In a time of great personal turmoil, the sight of these irises, so resilient, so beautiful, so unapologetically themselves, must have been a profound comfort. They were proof that life continues, that beauty persists, even in the most difficult of circumstances. They were a reflection of the part of his own soul that was still fighting, still reaching for the light, even from a place of deep shadow. The image of the iris is their deep, velvety blue-violet, their regal form, their quiet, cool fragrance is now etched into your sensory memory. It is a message of hope, but a different kind of hope than the one embodied by the yellow house. This is a quieter, more resilient hope. The hope that can be found not in the bright sunshine, but in the peaceful, shaded corners of the world and in the deep, quiet corners of one's own heart. Leaving the quiet square of the yellow house, you feel a gentle pull toward the heart of the town. The serene domesticity gives way to a faint, distant hum of life. The path leads you into a network of narrow, winding streets, paved with smooth, worn cobblestones that reflect the moonlight like a rippling stream. The buildings on either side are tall, their upper stories leaning in so closely that you can almost touch both sides with outstretched arms. And then you turn a corner and the scene opens up. You have emerged into the Place du Forum, the main square of Arles. And there on the corner is a sight that is instantly recognizable, the beacon of warmth and light in the dark blue night. It is the outdoor seating area of a cafe, its large awning illuminated from beneath by the bright, intense glow of gas lamps. This is the Café d'Arras at night. The light is the first thing that strikes you. It's not the soft, honeyed gold of the setting sun, nor the gentle, buttery light of the lamp in the yellow house. This is a brilliant, almost dazzling yellow-green light, a modern marvel in 1888. It floods the terrace, casting sharp, dark shadows and making the surfaces of the small, round tables and the wicker chairs gleam. It spills out onto the cobblestones, transforming their gray surfaces into a mosaic of vibrant yellows, oranges. The light itself seems to be alive, buzzing with energy. You find a vacant table at the very edge of the illuminated area, a place where you can be both a part of the scene and an observer of it. You sink into a wicker chair, the woven extra a pleasant contrast to the cool, smooth stone beneath your feet. From here, you are enveloped in the cafe's atmosphere. The air is thick with a mixture of scents, the rich, roasted aroma of coffee, the sweet, almond smell of a distant pastry, the faint, sharp tang of anise from a glass of absinthe on a nearby table, and the lingering scent of pipe tobacco. The sounds are a gentle symphony of human activity. There is the low murmur of conversations in French, the words indistinct but the tones relaxed and convivial. There is the gentle clinking of ceramic cups on saucers, the soft scraping of a chair being pulled out, the occasional burst of quiet laughter. A waiter moves with an efficient, practiced grace between the tables, his white apron a stark contrast to the surrounding darkness. This is not a loud or rowdy place, late-night socializing, the gentle hub of human connection in the vastness of the night. The painter, you recall, set up his easel right here in the darkness of the square to capture the scene as he saw it. What is so remarkable, and what you are experiencing now, is the color of the night sky. Looking up from the brightly lit terrace, the sky is not black or gray. It is a deep, breathtaking cobalt blue, almost ultramarine. And against this profound blue, the stars are not just white pinpriques. They are large, luminous, and sparkling, like brilliant jewels scattered on velvet. You can see why he painted them as great, swirling blossoms of light. From this vantage point, emerging from the artificial glare of the gaslight into the natural glory of the cosmos, they truly look that way. Art historians often point out that in his famous painting of this scene, there is not a single speck of black paint. He saw color everywhere, even in the deepest shadows in the darkest night. He found light and life in every corner of his world. Sitting here, you understand. The darkness is full of color, the deep blue of the sky, the purple shadows of the buildings, the rich, dark umber of the wet cobblestones in the distance. You ponder the human need for such places. Ica Fate Eris is a unique space. It is both public and private. You are among people, yet you are free to be lost in your own thoughts. It is a place of transition, a gentle buffer between the private world of home and the public world of the street. It's a place to see and be seen, but also a place to be peacefully anonymous. It offers a sense of belonging without demanding participation. You feel the warmth from the gas lamps on your face. You watch the quiet, fleeting interactions between the patrons. You listen to the gentle murmur of a language you don't need to understand. You sip a glass of cool water that the waiter has brought you, its surface reflecting the brilliant lights and the deep blue sky. This moment is another piece of the message. It is about the beauty of human community, however small or fleeting. It's about the comfort of shared spaces, the magic of artificial light against the natural darkness, and the profound peace that can be found in simply sitting and watching the world go by. The loneliness the painter so often felt could, for a moment, be held at bay in a place like this, under a canopy of buzzing light and a sky full of brilliant, silent stars. You linger at the cafe until the last patrons have departed and the waiter begins to extinguish the bright gas lamps one by one. The brilliant yellows and greens fade, and the square is returned to the quiet rule of the moon and stars. The deep blue of the sky seems to reclaim its territory. A gentle, insistent pull guides you away from the now sleeping town square and toward the sound of moving water. You walk through a maze of silent, residential streets, the sound of your own footsteps echoing softly against the old stone walls. The air grows cooler, damper, and carries the fresh, slightly mineral scent of a large river. Soon, the narrow streets open up, and you find yourself standing on the banks of the mighty Rhone. The river is a vast, dark ribbon flowing silently through the heart of the landscape. It is not a rushing, turbulent river tonight, but a slow, powerful, and majestic presence. Its surface is like polished dark glass, so still in places that it creates a perfect mirror for the sky above. And what a sky it is! Away from the concentrated light of the town, the heavens have opened up in all their glory. This is the starry night over the Rhone. You stand on the quay, a low stone embankment at the river's edge. The water laps gently against the stones at your feet, a soft, rhythmic sound that is deeply soothing. You look up, and the sight is a vast dome of the deepest indigo and violet, and it is crowded with stars. They are not the distant, shy specks of a city sky. These are the bold, brilliant, fiercely burning stars of a world without light pollution. You can see the shimmering, milky path of the galaxy stretching across the entire expanse. The constellations are so clear they look like the celestial diagrams in an ancient astronomer's textbook. The Big Dipper hangs low over the water, its form unmistakable, but it is the reflection that captures your soul. The entire, magnificent spectacle of the night sky is duplicated in the dark, smooth water of the river. The stars don't just reflect, they seem to have dissolved into the water, creating a second, liquid galaxy that flows at your feet. The river has become a river of stars. In the distance, the lights of the town on the far bank are also reflected in the water, but their reflections are not still. The gentle current of the river draws them out into long, wavering, golden streamers. They tremble and dance on the dark surface, ribbons of light that seem to be alive, swimming in the deep. It's a magical, hypnotic effect. The painter came here, to this very spot, to capture this scene. He wrote to his brother about his obsession with painting the night sky, with capturing the effect of the gaslight on the water and the sheer, overwhelming power of the stars. He wasn't interested in a photographic, literal representation. He wanted to paint the feeling of being here, the awe, the wonder, the sense of the infinite. You walk slowly along the quay, your gaze shifting between the sky above and the sky below. It creates a dizzying, wonderful sensation, as if you are walking on a narrow causeway between two universes. You feel untethered from the solid world, floating in a cosmos of water and light. It's a feeling of immense scale, a powerful reminder of your own smallness in the face of the infinite. Yet it is not a frightening feeling. It is a feeling of connection, of being part of this vast, beautiful, mysterious whole. A cool breeze blows across the water, carrying the scent of damp earth and river weeds. It raises tiny, shimmering ripples on the surface, making the reflected stars and lights tremble and momentarily shatter, only to reform an instant later. You sit down on the cold stone of the embankment, dangling your feet just above the water. You feel completely alone, yet not at all lonely. You are in the company of the river, the sky, and the stars. It is a powerful, silent communion. You think about the eternal questions that such a scene inspires. The questions that humans have asked for millennia as they stared up at the night sky. Questions about our place in the universe, about what lies beyond the stars, about the nature of time and eternity. The painter did not try to answer these questions with words. He answered them with color, with deep, resonant blues and brilliant, explosive yellows. He answered them by showing that the cosmos is not a cold, empty void, swirling, living entity. This experience is perhaps the most profound part of the message you carry. It is a message of awe. It is a message of awe. It is the feeling of standing at the edge of the world and witnessing a beauty that is too vast for words. It is the peace that comes from accepting one's own smallness and finding joy in it. You are a tiny spark of consciousness, privileged to witness this cosmic masterpiece for a fleeting moment. You breathe in the cool night air, listen to the gentle lapping of the river of stars, and let the sheer, silent magnificence of the scene wash over you, cleansing your mind and filling your soul with a deep and abiding peace. Your journey along the Rhone's starry bank eventually leads you away from the water and back into the countryside. The path becomes rustic again, and the air fills with the dry, herbal scents of the Garrigue landscape. You feel a desire for rest, for a moment of grounded stillness after the cosmic vastness of the river scene. Ahead, you see a grove of trees, their distinctive, gnarled silhouettes dark against the starry. These are olive trees, ancient inhabitants of this land. You step into the grove and the atmosphere changes immediately. The open expanse of the sky is replaced by a protective canopy of silvery green leaves. The moonlight filters down through the branches, de-appling the ground in shifting patterns of light and shadow. The air here is warmer, sheltered from the river breeze, and it holds the unique, slightly peppery and fruity scent of the olive trees themselves. You find a particularly ancient-looking tree, its trunk thick and deeply grooved, twisted into a shape that speaks of centuries of resilience. It looks less like a tree and more like a living sculpture. The bark is a beautiful mosaic of grays, browns, and pale greens, and it feels surprisingly smooth and cool to the touch. You settle down at its base, your back resting against the solid, comforting presence of its massive trunk. It feels like leaning against a wise, old grandparent. From this position, you can look up into the heart of the tree. The branches twist and turn in 100 different directions, a complex network of life. They are not striving straight for the sky like the cypresses, nor are they heavy and earthbound like the sunflowers. They are dynamic, full of movement, as if they are in the middle of a slow, centuries-long dance with the wind and the sun. The leaves are a pale, silvery green on their undersides, and they shimmer and rustle in the slightest breeze, creating a soft, whispering sound that is immensely peaceful. The painter found a deep spiritual significance in these olive groves. He painted them again and again, in all seasons and at all times of day. He saw in their gnarled, twisted forms a reflection of human struggle, of suffering, of endurance. But he also saw a profound holiness. For him, these groves were like a sanctuary, a natural church. He wrote about the ancient, religious feel of these places, and sitting here now, you understand exactly what he meant. There is a palpable sense of time in this grove. This tree you are leaning against could be 500, maybe even 1,000 years old. It was here long before the town of Arles as it now stands. It has witnessed countless seasons, droughts, storms, and harvests. It has seen generations of farmers tend to it, their hands polishing its bark smooth. It holds the memory of this land within its very rings. To lean against it is to connect with that deep, slow, geological time. You ponder the nature of wisdom. We often associate wisdom with words, with books, with human thought. But perhaps there is another kind of wisdom, a silent, embodied wisdom that comes from simply existing, from enduring, from being deeply rooted in one place for a very long time. What has this tree earned it from centuries of sunlight and shadow, of wind and rain? What secrets does it hold in its twisted heart? What its silence is not an absence of knowledge, but a different form of it. A wisdom that is felt, not spoken. A small green olive, overlooked from the last harvest, has fallen to the ground beside you. You pick it up. It is smooth, cool, and firm. You roll it between your fingers. It is a tiny, perfect package of potential for oil, for nourishment, for a new tree. It represents the incredible generosity of this ancient being. Despite the harshness of the sun and the force of the Mistral, it continues to produce, to give. The peace in this grove is different from the other forms of peace you have experienced tonight. It is not the sensory immersion of the lavender field or the cosmic awe of the starry river. It is a deep grounding, an ancient peace. It is the peace of resilience, of endurance, of profound, silent wisdom. It seeps into you from the ground up, a quiet strength that calms your nervous system and makes you feel profoundly safe and protected. You are not just a messenger for the painter now. You feel like you are also receiving a message from this tree, from this grove. It is a message about the beauty of imperfection, the nobility of endurance, and the quiet strength that comes from having deep roots. It is a reminder that even after the most violent storms, life finds a way to twist, to adapt, and to continue reaching for the light. You close your eyes, lean your head back against the ancient, gnarled bark, and simply breathe, absorbing the timeless, silent sermon of the olive grove. Rested and restored by the ancient peace of the olive grove, you feel ready to continue your nocturnal ramble. You follow a low stone wall that marks the edge of the grove, and as you round a corner, you see them, standing sentinel against the luminous, star-filled sky are a pair of cypress trees. They are magnificent, tall, dark, and perfectly formed. They rise from the earth like great green flames, their pointed tips seeming to almost touch the lowest stars. They are a stark, vertical presence in the rolling, horizontal landscape. In the darkness, their deep green color is almost black, making their silhouettes incredibly sharp and defined against the softer blues and violets of the night sky. You walk towards them, and as you get closer, you appreciate their scale. They are much taller than you realized, their highest branches swaying gently in a current of air that you cannot feel down on the ground. There is an energy about them, an upward, aspirational quality. Unlike the gnarled, earthbound olive trees, the cypresses seem to be all about reaching, about connecting the terrestrial with the celestial. You stand at the base of one and look straight up its trunk. It is a straight, powerful column, the reddish-brown bark textured and aromatic. You can smell their distinctive fragrance in the air, a clean, sharp, resinous scent, like incense in a vast, natural cathedral. It's a purifying, invigorating scent that seems to clear the mind and sharpen the senses. The painter was captivated by these trees. He saw them not as static, decorative elements in the landscape, but as living, breathing entities full of energy and movement. He famously described the cypress as being as beautiful of line and proportion as an Egyptian obelisk, and in his paintings, he imbued them with a dynamic, flame-like energy, their forms swirling and twisting as they reached for the sky. Standing here, you can see what inspired him. They seem to be vibrating with a powerful, upward surging life force. For centuries, the cypress has been a symbol of mourning and eternal life in Mediterranean cultures. They are often planted in cemeteries, their evergreen nature and heavenward reach seen as a connection between the world of the living and the realm of the spirit. They represent a solemn, dignified hope, a bridge between earth and sky. There is nothing sad about them, however. They possess a solemn grandeur, a quiet confidence in their purpose. You listen to the sound they make. It's different from the rustle of the lavender or the whisper of the olive leaves. The wind moving through the cypress's dense, scale-like needles creates a deep, soft, sighing sound. It's a low, resonant whoosh like the sound of a gentle exhalation, as if the earth itself is breathing out a long, slow sigh of peace. It's a sound that is both mournful and comforting, ancient and immediate. You consider the dual nature of this tree. It is so intensely alive. It is so intensely alive. It is full of vibrant, upward energy. It is a classic, almost formal shape, yet the painter saw in it a wild, able spirit. This beautiful paradox is perhaps what makes it so compelling. It holds opposites in perfect balance. The message you carry is becoming more complex, more nuanced. It is not just about simple peace and beauty. It is also about these deeper, more complex emotions. It is about the dignified sorrow and the fierce life force that can coexist in the same form. The painter knew this well. His own life was a testament to this duality, a life filled with immense suffering and yet, at the same time, an almost explosive creative energy and a profound love for the world. You reach out and touch the dense foliage of a lower branch. The needles are soft but firm, cool to the touch. The resinous scent clings to your fingertips. You are making a direct connection with this living flame, this dark, beautiful bridge between worlds. As you stand there in the silent company of these two magnificent trees, you feel a sense of clarity. The world simplifies. There is the solid, fragrant earth beneath your feet. There is the vast, starry sky above your head. And there are these two beautiful living spires connecting them. You feel perfectly placed in the middle of this grand, simple equation. You are the human element, the consciousness bearing witness to this sacred geometry. The image of the dark, flame-like cypresses, standing eternal and silent under the swirling stars, burns itself into your memory, a symbol of solemn, hopeful, and enduring life. Leaving the solemn company of the cypresses, you find yourself on a quiet country lane that seems to lead back towards the sleeping town. The moon is higher now, casting a brighter, whiter light that makes the path ahead easy to see. The world feels utterly still, suspended in the deep quiet of the late night. And then, you hear it, a slow, rhythmic, and solitary sound. You pause, listening. They are not your own. These are heavier, more deliberate. You step into the deep shadow of a stone wall, not out of fear, but out of a desire not to disturb the profound peace of the moment. You become a silent observer once more. A figure emerges around a bend in the road, walking at a steady, unhurried pace. In the clear moonlight, you can see his uniform. He is a postman. He carries a leather satchel slung over his shoulder, and he walks with a slight limp, his gait even and metronomic. His face, as he passes, is calm and thoughtful, his gaze directed at the path ahead. He is not rushing. His pace is perfectly in tune with the quiet rhythm of the night. This is Joseph Roulin, the postman, a man the painter considered a dear and loyal friend. He painted him and his entire family, his wife, his baby daughter, his 2 sons with great affection and respect. In the postman's weathered face, broad shoulders, and steady demeanor, the painter saw not just a humble civil servant, but a man of character, of dignity, of a simple, solid goodness. He saw in him a kind of dependable, earthy wisdom. You watch him walk down the lane until he is just a silhouette in the distance. His journey is a solitary one, through the sleeping countryside and quiet streets. His work connects the disparate lives of this community. He is the bearer of news, of business, of love letters, of condolences. His satchel contains the invisible threads of human connection that bind the town together. He is a messenger, just like you. But his messages are written in ink, on paper, tangible and specific. Yours are written in light and scent and feeling. His slow, rhythmic footsteps are the only sound in the world. Crunch, tap, crunch, tap, crunch, tap, crunch, tap. The sound is deeply reassuring. It speaks of reliability, of duty, of a world that continues its quiet, essential functions, even while most of its inhabitability. In a life that was so often chaotic and unpredictable for the painter, the steady, reliable presence of this man must have been a proffered, a human anchor in a turbulent sea. You ponder the quiet dignity of such a life of simple, repeated actions, walking the same route day after day, in the heat of the sun and the cool of the night. There is a meditative quality to it, a kind of zen in the art of postal delivery. This man knows every stone in this path, every turn in the road. His body is a map of the local landscape. He is as much a part of this place as the olive trees and the cypresses. Folklorists and sociologists have often studied the role of the rural postman as more than just a deliverer of mail. They were often a vital source of news, a friendly face for the isolated, a trusted link to the wider world. They were pillars of the community, their daily rounds a ritual that structured the day for many. The postman's arrival was an event, a small but significant punctuation in the quiet flow of rural life. The sound of his footsteps eventually fades into the distance, and the world returns to its deep silence. But the impression of his passage remains. He has left a wake of peaceful, purposeful suns. You feel a sense of kinship with him, this fellow traveler in the night. Both of you are on a solitary journey carrying messages of a sort, weaving your way through the quiet landscape. The message you carry for the painter is enriched by this encounter. It now includes the human element, not the boisterous community of the cafe, but the quiet, steadfast dignity of a single good man. It is a message about the beauty of friendship, the comfort of reliability, and the profound grace that can be found in a life of humble service. The painter didn't just see landscapes and flowers. He saw the souls of the people around him, and in the steady, rhythmic footsteps of his friend the postman, he found a music as profound and as moving as the sighing of the wind or the rustling of the lavender. You step out from the shadows and continue your walk, your own footsteps now feeling a little more deliberate, a little more peaceful, echoing the steady, comforting rhythm of the man who just passed. Following the path of the postman, you find yourself once again at the edge of the town of Arles. But this time, you enter a different quarter. The streets are wider here, opening onto a large, rectangular plaza, silent and empty under the high moon. This is the town's market square. During the day, this space would be a riot of color, sound, and smell. It would be crowded with vendors shouting their wares, with townspeople haggling and gossiping, with the vibrant colors of fresh produce, red tomatoes, purple eggplants, green lettuces piled high on wooden tables. But now, it is a place of profound and beautiful emptiness. The stalls have all been packed away. The only things left are the ghosts of the day's activity. You walk across the vast, open expanse of cobblestones, your footsteps the only sound. The space feels immense, like a grand, open-air ballroom waiting for the music to start. The surrounding buildings, their shutters all closed, stand like silent, sleeping chaperones around the edge of the dance floor. But the emptiness is not devoid of sensation. The air itself holds a memory of the day. You close your eyes and breathe in deeply. You can still smell it, a faint, complex, and wonderful perfume. It's a phantom scent, a collage of aromas. There is the sweet, earthy smell of leftover vegetables and bruised fruit. There is the savory, herbal scent of dried lavender and rosemary that a vendor was selling in sackets. You can detect the faint, salty tang of olives from a barrel. The comforting, ghost-like aroma of fresh bread that has long since been sold and eaten. It is the olfactory archive of a community's daily life. A scent that speaks of sustenance, of commerce, of the simple, good things of the earth brought together in one place. You can almost hear the echoes of the daytime sounds, the laughter, the chatter, the clatter of carts, but they are just echoes, faint and gentle in the deep quiet of the night. The painter, in his work, was not only interested in the grand landscapes, but also in these humble, everyday scenes. He saw the beauty and life in a simple basket of potatoes or a row of onions. He understood that the sacred could be found in the profane, the extraordinary in the ordinary. Standing in this empty square, you feel that same understanding. This place, in its current state of rest, is just as beautiful, just as beautiful, just as beautiful, just as beautiful, just as busy as towers. Use it on the edge of a stone trough that might be used for watering horses during the day. It is cool and smooth. From here, you can take in the entire scene. The moonlight washes over the plaza, bleaching the color from the cobblestones and turning them into a silvery, textured sea. The shadows of the buildings are long and sharp, creating a beautiful, abstract pattern of light and dark. It is a minimalist painting, a study in form and emptiness. A thought arises about the dual nature of public spaces. They are designed for crowds, for noise, for activity, but they have a secret, second life at night. a life of quiet, of rest, of contemplation. It is in this second life that you can truly appreciate their architecture, their scale, their soul. You are seeing the bones of the town, the underlying structure that supports the chaos of the day. This experience adds another layer to your message. It is about the beauty of rest, of quiet, of the pause between the notes. It is a reminder that life is not just about the busy, sunlit hours of activity. There is a different kind of life, a different kind of beauty that unfolds in the silent, moonlit hours of repose. The energy of the market has not disappeared, it has simply settled. It is dormant, like a seed waiting for the morning to sprout again. You feel a sense of privilege being here to witness this secret, quiet life of the town. You are seeing it in its most vulnerable and honest state, without the masks and the noise of the day. It is a moment of pure, uncluttered peace. A stray cat, sleek and silent, pads across the far side of the square, its form a fleeting shadow. It is the only other living creature you have seen here. It too is a creature of the night, a fellow keeper of the town's secrets. It glances in your direction with luminous green eyes, gives a silent nod of acknowledgement, and disappears into a dark alleyway. You are not alone in your appreciation of this quiet world. The composite ghost scent of the market, the vast, silent emptiness of the square, the starkly beautiful patterns of moonlight and shadow. This is your final impression of the town of Arles itself. It is a place that is vibrant and full of life, but it is also a place that knows how to rest, how to be quiet, how to hold its secrets until the morning comes. You feel the pull of the countryside once more, and you leave the sleeping market square behind. Your path takes you back out into the open fields that surround Arles. The moon is now directly overhead, at its brightest, illuminating the landscape with a clear, almost clinical light. The world is rendered in shades of silver, gray, and deep, velvety black. You are walking alongside a vast, harvested wheat field. The stalks have been cut, and the stubble that remains glows with a pale, silvery light. The field is not empty, however. In the very center of this wide, open space, you see a solitary, skeletal form. Drawn by this strange, lonely object, you step off the path and walk through the crunchy stubble towards it. The sound of your footsteps is loud in the stillness. As you get closer, you see that it is not just an easel. A small, three-legged stool stands beside it, and a wooden paint box lies open on the ground. It is as if the artist simply vanished, leaving all his tools behind. You approach with a sense of reverence. This is a sacred space, a workplace left in the middle of nature's great studio. There is no canvas on the easel. It stands empty, its wooden frame like a window looking out onto the moonlit landscape. You run your hand over its smooth, worn wood. It is splattered with stray dabs of paint, a smear of brilliant yellow, a streak of cobalt blue, a smudge of viridian green. These small, accidental marks are the only color in this monochrome world, and they feel incredibly vibrant, like tiny jewels. You kneel down and look at the open paint box. The tubes of paint are squeezed and twisted, evidence of the passionate, urgent work that took place here. The palette, a simple wooden board, is a chaotic battlefield of color, where greens and yellows have fought and blended, where blues have merged with whites to create the color of the sky. And from this abandoned scene, a new scent rises to meet you. It is the smell of creation. It is a sharp, clean, and wonderfully evocative fragrance. The dominant note is the strong, pine-like scent of turpentine, used to thin the paints and clean the brushes. Beneath that is the richer, heavier, slightly nutty aroma of linseed oil, the binder that gives oil paint its body and gloss, and woven through it all is the faint, mineral smell of the pigments themselves, the earthy eau caress. It is a smell that is a smell, demi-cold, chemical and natural, a perfume that speaks of the transformation of raw materials from the earth into a work of art. This is the scent of the painter's presence. He may be gone, but his essence lingers here. This smell is more personal, more intimate than any of the natural scents you have experienced tonight. This is the smell of his labor, his passion, his struggle. You can almost feel him here, standing just a moment ago, dabbing his brush onto the palette, his eyes narrowed as he stared intensely at the scene before him, trying to capture its fleeting beauty. You wonder what he was painting. Perhaps it was this very field, under the golden light of the setting sun. Perhaps it was the sunflowers or the sower he so often depicted, casting his seeds in a grand, sweeping gesture. The specific subject doesn't matter. What matters is the act itself, the creative process that this abandoned scene represents. Philosophers of art have long debated where the art in a painting resides. Is it in the final finished object that hangs on a gallery wall, or is it in the process of its creation, the seeing, the feeling, the struggle, the physical act of applying paint to canvas standing here, in this moonlit field, surrounded by the tools and the smells of the painter's work? The answer feels obvious. The art is here. It is in the energy that still vibrates in the air, in the ghost of the artist's focus and intention. This is a powerful addition to the message you carry. It's a message about the process, not just the result. It's about the beauty of the work itself. The painter's life was one of relentless, often frustrating labor. But it was in that labor, in the act of mixing colors and facing the blank canvas, that he found his purpose and his salvation. This abandoned easel is not a sign of failure or surrender. It is a monument to the nobility of the creative struggle. You don't touch anything. You leave the scene exactly as you found it, a silent testament to a moment of artistic endeavor. As you turn and walk away, the sharp, clean scent of turpentine and oil follows you for a few steps before dissolving back into the earthy smells of the night. The image of the solitary easel, a lonely sentinel in a vast, moonlit field, becomes a symbol of the artist's soul, stark, solitary, and pointing toward a beauty that only it can see. The memory of the lonely easel and the sharp scent of paint stays with you as you continue your journey. The path leads you towards a large, stately building, its silhouette more institutional than the houses in Arles. It is surrounded by a high stone wall, but a heavy wooden gate has been left slightly ajar, as if inviting you in. You slip through the opening and find yourself in a place of profound peace. It is the cloistered garden of the asylum at Saint-Remy. The painter came here after he left Arles, seeking refuge and treatment. And in this enclosed garden, he found a world of inspiration. The garden is laid out in a simple, geometric pattern. A circular fountain sits in the center, though it is dry and silent now. Paths radiate outwards like the spokes of a wheel, dividing the garden into neat, triangular beds. But within this formal structure, the planting is wild and overgrown, a beautiful chaos of nature, reclaiming a man-made order. You walk slowly along one of the gravel paths, the crunch of your footsteps soft and muted in the enclosed space. The air here is still and fragrant, a complex tapestry of scents. You can smell the cool, damp earth, the sweet perfume of unseen roses, the sharp, clean scent of pine needles from the tall trees that line the walls, and the lingering, honeyed fragrance of honeysuckle. It is a deeply therapeutic atmosphere, a world unto itself, sheltered and safe. The moonlight streams down into this open-air room, illuminating the chaotic beauty of the planting. You see the dark, dramatic forms of the irises you remember from Arles, growing here in thick, happy clumps. There are tangled rose bushes, the last blooms of the season looking like pale, silken ghosts in the moonlight. Tall, slender lilies stand like pale sentinels, their scent growing stronger as the night deepens. Everything is lush, overgrown, and intensely alive. The painter found this garden to be an endless source of subjects. He painted the irises, the lilies, the overgrown paths, the gnarled tree trunks. He painted the garden in the rain, in the sun, in every season. For him, this small, enclosed world was a microcosm of the entire universe. It was a place where he could study nature in its most intimate and accessible form. As you wander through this peaceful labyrinth, your thoughts turn inward. You begin to imagine a different scene, not one you are seeing with your eyes, but one you are perceiving with your mind's eye. It is the image of a bedroom. A simple, almost monastic room. You see a plain wooden bed with a rustic green blanket and a simple white pillow, a small wooden table, a couple of chairs. The walls are a pale, calming blue-violet. The floor is made of red tiles. The window is open, letting in the light and air. There are a few simple pictures hanging on the wall. Everything in the room is in its proper place. It is a room of order, of simplicity, of profound tranquility. This is the painter's bedroom in Arles, the one he painted with such love and care. He wanted it to be a picture of absolute rest, of a place where the mind could be at peace. The colors were meant to be soothing, the simple furniture reassuring. It was his ideal of a sanctuary, a haven from the chaos of the world and the turmoil in his own mind. As you stand in the quiet, overgrown garden of the asylum, the image of this simple, orderly bedroom comes to you as a powerful counterpoint. The garden is a symbol of nature's wild, untamable beauty. The bedroom is a symbol of the human need for order, for structure, for a self-created peace. The painter needed both. He needed the wild energy of the outdoors to fuel his art, and he needed the quiet serenity of his room to rest his weary soul. You ponder the concept of a sanctuary. What makes a place feel safe for some? It is the wildness of nature, the feeling of being part of something vast and untamed. For others, it is a small, enclosed, and perfectly ordered space, a world that one can control and understand. The painter, in his life and his art, explored both. The peace you feel now is a blend of these two things. You are in a wild, overgrown garden, but it is contained within the safe, orderly structure of the cloister walls. It is a perfect balance of freedom and security. This final, internal vision of the simple bedroom completes the message you have been assembling. It is a message that acknowledges the beauty of the wild, chaotic, and powerful forces of nature, but also honors the deep human need for simplicity, for order, for a quiet room of one's own. It is a message of balance. It is a message of balance, a message that says that peace can be found both in a vast, starry sky and in a small, tidy room. It is the peace of a well-ordered soul, a state the painter endlessly strove for, and which he captured forever in the calm, quiet colors of his painted bedroom. You drift away from the mental image of the quiet bedroom, your awareness returning fully to the world around you. You leave the asylum's peaceful garden, feeling its restorative calm settle deep within you, and find yourself once more in the open countryside. The landscape has changed. Before you lies a immense, rolling field of wheat bathed in the silver light of the moon. This field is different from the one with the abandoned diesel. This one is not yet fully harvested. A vast portion of it is still a sea of ripe, heavy-headed wheat, while a section has been recently cut, the sheaves tied into neat bundles called estoques, standing in rows like a silent, waiting army. The scene is one of both abundance and labor. The sound here is magnificent. The gentle night breeze, the same one that has been your companion all along, moves through the standing wheat, creating a sound like a soft, continuous wave breaking on a distant shore. It's a dry, rustling, whispering sound, the collective voice of millions of individual stalks of grain. It's a sound of fullness, of a harvest waiting to be completed. Your eyes are drawn to a lone figure in the distance, silhouetted against the pale glow of the horizon. It is a man with a scythe. Even at this late hour, he is working. You watch, fascinated, from the edge of the field. His movements are not frantic or hurried. They are a study in practiced, rhythmic grace. He plants his feet firmly. He swings the long, curved blade of the scythe in a wide, smooth, powerful arc. There is a crisp, satisfying sheshe sound as the blade slices through the base of the wheat stalks. The grain falls in a neat row. He takes a step forward. He swings again. Sheshe step, swing. The repetition is hypnotic. It is a dance, a slow, ancient waltz between the man, the tool, and the earth. The painter returned to the theme of the sower and the reaper throughout his career. For him, these figures were not just farm laborers. They were epic, almost biblical figures, symbols of the great, eternal cycles of life, death, and rebirth. The sower represented hope, the future, the beginning of life. The reaper, like this man here, was not a figure of death in a grim sense. He was a symbol of the harvest, of the fulfillment of nature's promise, of the necessary of a cycle. He was an agent of completion. Watching this solitary reaper, you can see that nobility. His work is hard, but there is no sense of struggle or complaint. There is only a deep, focused concentration. He is completely present in his task. His body knows the rhythm, the precise amount of force needed. His mind is quiet, attuned to the swing of the blade and the fall of the grain. He is in a state of flow, a perfect union of action and awareness. You consider the idea of meaningful work in a world of abstract tasks and digital labor. There is something profoundly grounding about this scene. This man's work has a direct, tangible result. At the end of his labor, there will be food. There is an undeniable purpose, a direct connection to the fundamental needs of life. There is a simple, honest beauty in that. The message you carry is gaining yet another layer of depth. It is a message about the dignity of labor, the poetry of movement, and the profound peace that can be found. It is about the cyclical nature of existence, the sowing, the growing, and the reaping. The painter saw that this cycle applied not just to wheat, but to ideas, to relationships, to life itself. There is a time for planting and a time for harvest. The air is filled with the clean, wholesome scent of cut wheat. It's a smell like dry sunshine, like fresh baked bread before it even enters the oven. It is the scent of nourishment, of potential, of the earth's generosity. The reaper pauses in his work. He straightens his back, his form a dark, strong line against the sky. He takes a whetstone from his belt and begins to sharpen his blade. The sound is a sharp, metallic shing-shing, a bright, clear note that cuts through the soft rustling of the wheat. It is the sound of preparation, of readiness for the work ahead. You feel no desire to interrupt him, to even be seen. You are a privileged witness to this timeless, solitary ritual. This scene is not a performance, it is an authentic moment of life, stripped down to its most essential elements: a man, a tool, the earth, and the sky. The image of the lone reaper, moving with rhythmic grace through a vast, moonlit field of wheat, becomes a central part of your message. It is a message of peace, but a peace born not of idleness, but of purposeful action. It is the deep, satisfying calm that comes from a hard day's work, from a task well done, from playing one small but vital part in the great, beautiful, and never-ending cycle of life. You leave the lone reaper to his rhythmic work, the sound of his scythe fading behind you, and follow a winding path that leads up a gentle slope. At the crest of the hill, you find yourself once again before the walls of the St. Remy Asylum. But this time, you have not entered the main cloister garden. You have found your way to a different part of the grounds, a more secluded, walled-off area. This is the hospital garden, a space specifically set aside for the patients to walk, to sit, to find a measure of peace. It is, in its own way, a sanctuary within a sanctuary. You slip through another unlocked gate, and the world outside disappears completely. The feeling here is different from the other garden. It is smaller, more intimate, and feels even more profoundly sheltered. The high stone walls, covered in ivy and climbing roses, block out the wind in the wider world, creating a microclimate of perfect stillness. The only sounds are the ones born within these walls, the drowsy hum of a few night-flying moths, the impossibly soft rustle of leaves as a small creature moves in the undergrowth, and the gentle, almost imperceptible dripping of dew from a large leaf onto the damp earth below. The layout is less formal than the cloister garden. Paths meander in gentle curves around overgrown flower bed beneath the low-hanging branches of gnarled fruit trees. A few simple wooden benches are placed in secluded nooks, offering places for quiet contemplation. It is a space designed not for show, but for healing. The air is heavy with a potent, therapeutic blend of fragrances. The sweet, almost cloying perfume of night-blooming jasmine mingles with the sharp, medicinal scent of eucalyptus and pine. You can smell the rich, damp earth, the decaying leaves that form a soft carpet under the trees, and the faint, ghostly scent of sun-warmed stone from the walls, now releasing their heat into the cool night air. It is a complex, deeply calming aromatherapy, administered by nature itself. The painter spent countless hours in this very garden. When he was not well enough to venture out into the surrounding countryside, this walled garden became his entire universe. He looked at it with an intensity that few could muster, and he found in its humble confines an infinite source of inspiration. He painted the irises that grew wild in the corner, the gnarled trunk of a pine tree, a single, delicate moth. He taught himself and the world that you do not need to travel far to find beauty. You only need to look deeply. You sit down on one of the cool, damp wooden benches. It is tucked away in an alcove, surrounded by ferns and flowering bushes. From here, you are hidden, a quiet observer of this secret, healing world. You feel completely safe, held in the gentle embrace of the garden. The high walls are not a prison, they are a protection. They create a boundary against the overwhelming stimuli of the outside world, allowing the mind to rest and the spirit to mend. You ponder the idea of a healing space. What are the elements that make a place therapeutic here? You can feel them all. There is the sense of safety and enclosure. There is the presence of living, growing things. There is the gentle stimulation of the senses, the soft sounds, the rich smells, the varied textures. Then there is the profound quiet, the absence of demand or expectation. This garden asks nothing of you, except that you be present within it. This experience offers a subtle but important refinement to the message you carry. The journey so far has been about finding beauty in the grand, open landscapes of Provence. But this garden teaches a different lesson. It teaches the beauty of the small, the enclosed, the intimate. It is a message about the healing power of limits, of finding a whole world in a small patch of earth. For a mind as expansive and often overwhelmed as the painter's, this contained universe must have been both a challenge and a profound relief. You notice the details you might have missed in a larger, more dramatic setting. The intricate, fractal patterns of a frond unfurling in the moonlight. The way a spider has spun a web between two rose branches, its silk transformed into a necklace of diamond-like dewdrops. The velvety texture of the moss growing on the north side of a tree trunk. This is the gift of a small space. It encourages you to look closer, to appreciate the infinite complexity of the miniature. This garden is a testament to the resilience of both nature and the human spirit. It is a place where things that are broken can begin to mend. It is a place of quiet hope. You feel the tension in your own body release as you sit here. Your breathing deepens and slows. The garden is working its gentle magic on you, just as it must have on the painter. You are not just observing a place of healing, you are participating in it. And this feeling of profound, sheltered, intimate peace becomes a quiet, vital whisper in the message you carry through the night. You remain on the bench in the healing garden for a long time, letting the profound stillness seep into your very bones. As you sit there, suspended in the quiet, a new sound begins to emerge. It has been there all along in the background, but now in the deep calm of this protected space, your awareness isolates it, and it swells to fill the entire soundscape. In Provence, this sound is the defining soundtrack of summer. By day, it can be a deafening, almost frantic buzzing. But now in the cool of the night, it is different. It is a more measured, rhythmic, and deeply hypnotic chorus. It is not one single sound, but a symphony played by thousands of tiny, unseen musicians. You close your eyes to listen more deeply. You can distinguish different layers in the sound. There is a continuous, high-pitched, shimmering drone that forms the foundation, a steady, unwavering note that seems to make the very air vibrate. Woven into this are the individual calls of the cicadas, a rhythmic, pulsing ease, 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 ease. This is ease, 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 this, ease, 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 ease. Is this is this is this is 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 this 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 batting distant echo from the other side of the garden wall. The sound is all-encompassing. It emanates from the trees, the bushes, the very earth itself. You are not just listening to it, you are immersed in it. It is a vibrating blanket of sound that wraps around you, insulating you even further from the outside world. It is the pulse of the Provençal night, a steady ancient rhythm that has been repeated every summer for millennia. The painter would have heard this sound constantly. It would have been the background music to his work, his meals, his sleepless nights. In his letters, he sometimes complained about their incessant noise, but one can imagine that he also found a strange comfort in it. It was a sign of the intense, vibrating life of the South that he had come here to find. It was the sound of the sun, stored up in these tiny creatures and released into the air. Scientific literature explains the mechanics of this sound, how the male cicada rapidly vibrates a membrane on its abdomen, called a ty-bow, to create the song. But this clinical explanation does little to capture the feeling of being submerged in this ancient chorus. It is a primal sound, a sound that seems to connect directly to the oldest parts of your brain. It bypasses the analytical mind and speaks directly to the senses. You let the sound wash over you, through you. It is a natural mantra, a sonic texture that is wonderfully complex yet demands nothing from you. You can feel the vibrations in the wood of the bench, a faint trembling that travels up into your body. The rhythmic pulsing seems to sync with your own breathing, with your own heartbeat, until you feel as if you are part of the orchestra. You ponder the nature of such a sound. Is it noise or is it music in the busy, distracting light of day? It might be perceived as noise, but here, in the focused quiet of the night, it is undeniably music. It is a symphony of pure, unadulterated life. It is the sound of an ecosystem thriving. There is a deep, biological rightness to it. This experience adds a purely auditory dimension to the message you are carrying. It's a message that says peace can be found not just in silence, but in the right kind of sound. A sound that is natural, rhythmic, and all-encompassing. A sound that can fill the mind so completely that there is no room left for anxious thoughts or looping worries. It is the ultimate white noise machine, provided by nature itself. The waves of sound rise and fall. A section of the orchestra will quiet down, only to be answered by another section from across the garden. It is a conversation, a territorial call, a love song all at once. You are eavesdropping on the secret, sonic life of the insect world. Lying back on the bench, with your eyes closed, the world is reduced to this one single, overwhelming sensation, the eternal, hypnotic, and deeply soothing song of the cicadas. It is the lullaby of Provence. It is the sound of summer, of warmth, of life vibrating at its most intense. And under its calming spell, you feel yourself drifting further and further away from the waking world, carried on a resonant, shimmering wave of pure sound. A subtle shift in the air gently rouses you from your cicada-induced trance. The constant, shimmering chorus of the insects begins to soften, their song becoming more subdued, as if they sense an approaching change. A new scent begins to permeate the garden, overriding the jasmine and pine. It is a clean, electric, and deeply earthy smell, the smell of ozone, the scent of rain, before it has even begun to fall. You open your eyes. The sky above the walled garden, which was so clear and brilliant just a short while ago, is now veiled by a thin, high layer of clouds, their edges glowing with a diffused moonlight. A cool, moist breeze, the first of its kind tonight, rustles the leaves of the tall trees, a different sound from the dry whisper of the Mistral. And then the first drop falls. It lands on your cheek, a single surprisingly cool splash. Another lands on the back of your hand. Another makes a soft pat sound on a large leaf nearby. The rain begins not as a downpour but as a gentle, tentative suggestion. A few scattered drops, then a few more, until a soft, steady, and wonderfully quiet shower is descending upon the garden. You don't move from your bench. You tilt your face up to meet the rain. It is not a cold or violent rain. It is a soft, summer shower, a gift to the thirsty land. The drops are gentle, cleansing. You can feel them washing the dust from the leaves, the heat from the stones, and the weariness from your own spirit. The sound is magical. It is a soft, percussive drumming on the broad leaves of the sycamores, a gentle hissing as it falls on the gravel paths, a quiet tapping on the wooden bench beside you. The world is filled with the multi-layered, soothing sound of falling water. The chorus of the cicadas has fallen silent, replaced by this new, even more peaceful music. And the smell is extraordinary. As the water meets the dry, warm earth and the sun-baked stones, it releases a fragrance that is one of the most beautiful and evocative in the natural world. It is called petric, or the scent of rain on dry ground. It is a rich, complex aroma, a mixture of the earthy scent of geosmin produced by soil bacteria and the green, fresh scent of plant oils that have accumulated on the rocks and soil during the dry period. It is the perfume of the earth sighing in relief. The painter loved the effects of rain. He painted the garden at Saint Remy with diagonal slashes of paint to represent a downpour, capturing the way the rain blurs the outlines of the world, unifies the colors, and gives everything a glistening, renewed sheen. He understood that the rain was not an interruption to the beauty of the landscape, but a different expression of it. You watch as the garden transforms under the gentle shower. The colors deepen. The dusty greens of the leaves become a vibrant, saturated emerald. The gray stones of the wall darken to a rich, slate black, making the green ivy that clings to them stand out in brilliant contrast. Every surface glistens, reflecting the faint, diffused moonlight. The world looks clean, fresh, and newly born. You ponder the restorative power of water. It is the ultimate solvent, not just for dirt, but for tension. It cleanses, it nourishes, it renews. This gentle shower feels like a blessing, a baptism. It is washing away the dust of your long journey, both literally and metaphorically. It is a moment of pure sensory renewal. This experience adds a final, crucial element to the message you carry. It is a message about the beauty of release, of renewal, of the cleansing power of nature. It's a reminder that even after the most intense heat and dryness, relief will come. The landscape and the soul can be washed clean and made new again. The painter, in his own periods of intense, fiery creation and emotional dryness, must have found a profound solace in the simple, life-giving promise of a summer shower. You take a deep, slow breath, inhaling the incredible fragrance of the rain-soaked earth. It is the scent of life itself, pure and uncomplicated. You feel clean, calm, and completely at peace. The gentle rain continues to fall, a soft, persistent lullaby. It is the perfect, peaceful culmination of your sensory journey through the garden. The heat has broken. The thirst has been quenched. The summer shower is as brief as it is beautiful. The rain softens to a fine mist and then stops altogether, leaving behind a world that is dripping, glistening, and fragrant. A profound silence descends upon the garden, the kind of deep, ringing quiet that only follows a rainfall. And in this quiet, a realization bless, as clear and gentle as the rain itself. You finally understand the true nature of the message you have been carrying all night. You are the messenger for the painter, but the message is not for him, not really. He is gone. The message is not something you need to deliver to a specific person or place. The act of gathering it, of experiencing it, was the entire purpose. The message was for you, and as you stand up from the damp bench, you understand what the contents of this letter truly are. It is not a story with a plot. It is not a collection of facts or ideas. The message is a mosaic of pure, unadorned sensation. It is the feeling of the warm, dusty earth of a Provençal path beneath your feet. It is the heavy, golden, honey-like quality of the late afternoon sun, the way it bathes the entire world in a benevolent, forgiving glow. It is the all-encompassing, deeply calming scent of a vast field of lavender, and the soft, percussive rustle of its millions of stalks swaying in the breeze. It is the profound, watchful stillness of the sunflowers at night, their heavy heads bowed in patient vigil, waiting for the dawn. It is the cheerful, optimistic warmth emanating from the yellow walls of a simple house, a beacon of hope glowing in the dark blue night. It is the deep, velvety, regal blue of an iris, its cool, earthy scent, a balm for a troubled mind. It is the convivial hum of a cafe terrace, the sharp smell of coffee, and the way the brilliant gaslight pushes back against a sky filled with impossibly large, sparkling stars. It is the awe-inspiring sight of the River Rhone, a flowing, liquid galaxy mirroring the cosmos above. It is the ancient, gnarled, and reassuring presence of an old olive tree, its trunk a testament to centuries of silent, resilient wisdom. It is the dark, flame-like silhouette of a cypress tree, a noble, living bridge connecting the earth and the heavens. It is the slow, steady, rhythmic crunch of a postman's footsteps on a country lane, a sound of reliability and quiet human dignity. It is the ghostly, composite perfume of an empty market square, a fragrant memory of a community as daily life. It is the sharp, clean, evocative scent of turpentine on oil paint, the smell of the creative struggle itself. It is the mental image of a simple, orderly bedroom, a sanctuary of self-created peace. It is the hypnotic, graceful swing of a reaper's scythe through a field of ripe wheat, a dance of purpose and completion. It is the all-encompassing, shimmering, and deeply hypnotic song of the cicadas at the height of a summer night. And finally, it is the clean, fresh, life-giving smell of rain on thirsty earth, the scent of renewal and release. This is the letter. This is the message. It is a collection of moments of pure, unmediated sensory experience. It is a guide to finding peace, not by thinking but by feeling. The painter's gift was not just the canvases he left behind, but the way he saw the world. He experienced life with an almost unbearably intense sensitivity. And your journey tonight has been an invitation to borrow that sensitivity, just for a little while. You realize that you weren't ever just a messenger for Van Gogh. You were his student. He was teaching you, across the gulf of time, how to see, how to hear. He was showing you that the world is overflowing with a beauty so intense it is almost painful, but that this beauty is also the ultimate source of solace. This understanding feels like a quiet homecoming. Your role is complete, not because you have reached a destination, but because you have understood the journey itself. The message is not an object to be delivered, but a state of being to be inhabited it. You have inhabited it. You have filled yourself with the sensory richness of his world, and in doing so, you have found the peace you were searching for. There is nothing left to do, no one to find, no task to complete. There is only the quiet, glistening, fragrant garden, and the deep sense of peace that now resides within you. You have received the message. It is safe inside you. With the peaceful weight of your new-found understanding settling within you, you feel a gentle pull to revisit one last place. You leave the now glistening, rain-freshened asylum garden and find your way back to the great, open fields. Your feet, moving with a quiet purpose, led you unerringly back to the sea of lavender. The landscape is transformed. The rain has washed the air clean, and the moon, now beginning its descent, seems to have a renewed, silvery brilliance. The field, which before was a tapestry of silver and deep indigo, is now something else entirely. It is a moon-drenched, magical realm. Each tiny lavender blossom holds a single, perfect droplet of rainwater. In the intense moonlight, these droplets act like millions of tiny lenses capturing, unrefracting the light. The entire field shimmers and sparkles with a cool, ethereal fire. It is as if someone has scattered a universe of tiny diamonds across the vast, dark velvet, of the landscape. The color is no longer just purple or silver, it is a living, breathing. You walk between the rows, and this time, the scent is different too. The rain has awakened a deeper, more complex fragrance from the plants in the soil. It is the familiar, calming scent of lavender, but now it is layered with the cool, clean smell of rainwater and the rich, dark aroma of damp earth. It is a fragrance that is both soothing and invigorating, ancient and brand new. The sound has also changed. The dry, percussive rustle of the stalks is gone, replaced by a profound, dripping quiet. The only sound is the impossibly soft plunk, as droplets of water, now heavy, fall from the blossoms and leaves onto the soil below. It is a slow, gentle, and completely random music, a liquid lullaby played by the field itself. You stand in the center of this glittering expanse and feel a sense of profound awe. You have seen this field in the warm glow of dusk, and now you are seeing it in its renewed, rain-kissed, moonlit glory. It is a powerful lesson in how the same place can offer a completely different kind of beauty depending on the time and the conditions. It is a reminder that there is always more to see, always another layer of beauty to be discovered. The painter, you feel, would have been ecstatic here. He would have seen this shimmering, otherworldly light and felt an almost desperate urge to capture its magic. He might have used thick dabs of white and silver paint, applied directly from the tube, to try and replicate the way the water droplets sparkle on the deep, dark purple. You would have understood that this was a fleeting, magical moment, a gift from the night. You sit down just as you did before between two rows. The ground is damp, but it's a cool, pleasant feeling. You are close to the glittering blossoms now, and the sight is mesmerizing. You are inside a jewel box. The air feels charged with a quiet, magical energy. It feels like a place where the veil between worlds is thin, where anything is possible. You think about the concept of enchantment. We often think of it as something from fairy tales, something that isn't real. But what is enchantment really if not a moment of such intense, unexpected, and otherworldly beauty that it transcends our everyday understanding of reality? This is such a moment. It is real. You are here. You are breathing it in. The journey has been about gathering sensory experiences, but this feels like the final, most precious jewel in the collection. It is a vision of pure, unadulterated magic. It is a message that says that even when you think you have seen all the beauty a place has to offer, it can still show you something new, something even more wonderful. You lie back, your head cushioned by the damp, fragrant lavender plants. Your view is of the glittering blossoms, silhouetted against the dark, descending moon. The sky is beginning to show the very faintest hint of a pre-dawn glow in the east, a deep, velvety indigo that is almost imperceptibly lighter than the darkness overhead. The world is perfectly still. The dripping has almost stopped. There is only the vast, silent, glittering field, the cool, fragrant air, and the slow, majestic turning of the heavens. You feel a sense of absolute completion. Your journey has brought you from the warm, golden sun to this cool, silver moon. You have experienced the full spectrum of the Provençal night. And here, in this enchanted, moon-drenched field, you have found the ultimate expression of its peace. You close your eyes. The image of the sparkling lavender field burned into your mind, a final, perfect gift from the world of 1888. In the deep, resonant quiet of the glittering lavender field, you feel a gentle shift. The journey, you sense, is drawing to a close. The purpose of your visit has been fulfilled. The message has been received. Now, it is time for one last, slow, meditative walk under the vast and turning sky. You rise from your nest among the lavender, feeling refreshed and profoundly calm. You find a small path that leads away from the field and up to a low rolling hill. From the crest of this hill, you can see the entire landscape laid out before you, a final panoramic farewell. The moon is low on the western horizon now, a perfect, pale crescent hanging in the sky. To the east, the darkness is softening, bleeding into the deep, rich blues and indigos of the false dawn. The brightest stars are still visible, but they have a softer, more distant look, as if they too are preparing to rest. The world is suspended in that magical, liminal time between night and day. You begin to walk slowly along the ridge of the hill. The air is cool, clean, and carries the scent of the rain-washed earth. Your footsteps are soft on the damp ground. This is not a walk towards a new destination. It is a walk of reflection, of absorption. You are taking one last look, imprinting this world onto your soul. You see the dark, rolling shapes of the hills, the sharp, flame-like silhouettes of the distant cypress trees, and the gnarled, ancient forms of the olive groves. You see the faint, sleeping outline of the town of Arles in the distance, a small cluster of deeper shadows in the landscape. Everything you have visited tonight is there, spread out before you, a single, unified, and sleeping world. And then you look up, the sky. The sky is beginning to perform its final, most spectacular act of the night. It is not the static, jeweled sky at midnight. It is a sky in motion, full of a dynamic, swirling energy. The painter saw this. He didn't just paint stars as dots, he painted them as great, fiery swirls of light, as celestial explosions of energy. He painted the sky as a living, breathing, flowing entity. And now you see why. As the earth turns toward the sun, the atmosphere creates currents and eddies of light. The stars seem to pulse and swirl. The clouds, what few remain, are drawn into long, flowing ribbons of pale light. The entire cosmos seems to be engaged in a slow, majestic, and silent dance. It is the starry night, not as a static image, but as a living, evolving event. You stand completely still, your head tilted back, and just watch. It is the greatest show in the universe, performed every night, and you have a front row seat. You feel that sense of cosmic awe you felt by the Rhone, but it is deeper now, more personal. You have spent the whole night getting to know this world, and now you are watching it say its final, glorious goodnight. You think about the painter standing on a hill just like this one, looking up at the same swirling sky. What must he have felt? Certainly. But perhaps also a sense of kinship. His own inner world was so often a place of swirling, chaotic, and powerful emotions. Perhaps in the swirling energy of the night sky, he saw a reflection of his own soul. He saw that the universe itself was not calm and orderly, but wild, dynamic, and full of a fiery, creative force. This vision may not have brought him peace in the conventional sense, but it may have brought him a sense of belonging, a feeling that he was not alone in his intensity. This final walk is the gentle closing of the book. You are turning the last page. Each step is a quiet moment of gratitude. Gratitude for the beauty you have been allowed to witness, for the peace you have been allowed to feel. There is no sadness in this ending, only a sense of deep, quiet fulfillment. The path ahead of you becomes less distinct. The details of the landscape begin to soften, to blur at the edges. The specific scents and sounds are fading, merging back into a general sense of peace. The vibrant, sensory world of 1888 is slowly, gently receding. You take one last, deep breath of the cool, clean, Preed on air. You take one last look at the magnificent, swirling sky. You fix the image, the feeling, the entire experience in your memory. It is your message, your letter, your gift. And now, it is a part of you. The journey is over. It is time to go home. The swirling, starry sky above you begins to dissolve. The vibrant, deep blues and brilliant, explosive yellows soften and merge, losing their sharp definition. The majestic dance of the cosmos slows, its energy receding, transforming into a soft, comforting haze. The cool, crisp air of the Provence hilltop gradually warms, its specific sense of rain-washed earth and distant lavender fading into a more familiar, neutral stillness. The feeling of the damp, solid ground beneath your feet begins to change. The gentle texture of the country paths softens, becoming smoother, more uniform. The sensation of walking ceases, and you are no longer standing. You are now aware of a gentle, even support along your entire body. The feeling of being outdoors, under the vast open sky, is replaced by a sense of enclosure, a feeling of being in a safe, familiar, and comfortable space. You are returning. The world of 1888, with all its intense, beautiful sensations, is releasing you, letting you go as gently as you arrived. It is not an abrupt departure, but a slow, graceful fade. The images that were so vivid just moments ago, the cypress trees, the olive groves, the sleeping town, are now becoming like beautiful, sun-faded photographs in your mind. They are memories, no longer immediate experiences. The profound external quiet of the Provence night begins to merge with the internal quiet of your own mind. The symphony of specific sounds, the rustling wheat, the lapping river, the dripping rain, the curing cicadas has faded away, leaving behind only a deepened, profound silence. This silence is not empty. It is full. It is filled with the resonance of all the peace you have gathered on your journey. You are being drawn back into the gentle embrace of your own quiet room. The last vestiges of your sensory adventure are dissolving, like sugar in warm water, leaving only their sweetness behind. The role of the messenger, the observer, the traveler in time is now complete. You have carried the message, and its contents have been fully absorbed into your being. The peace of the lavender fields, the strength of the sunflowers, the awe of the starry night, these are no longer external things to be witnessed. They are now qualities that reside within you. You can feel the gentle weight of your blanket, a comforting, grounding presence. You can sense the soft, even pressure of the pillow beneath your head. These are the anchors bringing you back, gently, to the here and now. But you are not the same as when you left. You have brought something back with you. You have brought back the quiet. You have brought back the stillness. You have brought back the deep, restorative peace of a world seen through an artist's eyes. The journey required no effort, and the return requires none either. You are simply allowing it to happen. You are drifting on a gentle, silent current, moving from one state of peace to another. The boundary between the world of the story and the world of your room becomes seamless. The path through the moonlit fields of Provence leads directly, smoothly, and inevitably to the soft, welcoming landscape of your bed. All the colors, the sounds, the smells, and the textures have coalesced into a single, unified feeling of deep, serene, and untroubled calm. This is the final gift of your journey. It is the destination you were heading towards all along. You are no longer in Provence. You are simply at peace. The story is over. The silence is complete. You have arrived in the quiet harbor of your own deep rest, where the only thing left to do is to let go and drift into the peaceful, wasteful, the quiet reflection. Your journey is now at its gentle end. The vibrant world of 1888 has faded, leaving behind only a deepened, settled quiet in its wake. The path you walked through fields of lavender and under swirling stars has led you here, to this moment of absolute stillness, to the soft and waiting sanctuary of your bed. Your eyelids feel heavy now, as heavy as the ripe heads of the sunflowers, bowing gently toward a peaceful rest. Let them close. There is nothing more you need to see. The visions of the night are now safely stored within you, gentle memories that can only deepen your repose. Your breathing is slow and even, a quiet rhythm like the lapping of the Rhone against its banks in the dead of night. Each breath in is a quiet affirmation of this peace. Each long, slow breath out is a release, a letting go of the last remnants of the day, of the last echoes of the story. You are sinking, slowly and comfortably, into the support beneath you, as if you are becoming one with the quiet, receptive earth of a Provencal field. There are no more paths to walk, no more messages to carry. The only journey left is the one that leads inward into the deepened restorative landscape of your own peaceful sleep. The air around you is still, the world is quiet, all is well. Allow the gentle current of slumber to carry you away. There is nothing to do now but rest. The end of the article. Good night.